You two go get us some shavings. Promise me, when you transport animals, you put down some bedding in the trailer to absorb their manure and urine. We won't need this. Can y'all help me?
Sure. I'll get my boots on.
Just help me right there. Thank you for the bag, Lily. We're going to a farmer today. We're gonna get a replacement pig for our female we just butchered, and we're gonna get that pig cut up. It's called breaking down. We're gonna break a pig down. We need to load our coolers. We thought about not going today because my feet are hurting a little extra.
Papa, ready, steady, go.
Mom's not feeling that great. Dealing with some potential mastitis. I spent the last half of the night when I would wake up thinking how to tell you people I'm not going. We're sending Grandma and Grandpa to pick up our pig and probably just drop the pig off, because if I don't go, we're probably not breaking it down. But Rebecca and I were talking about it, and we're like, at some point I'm just gonna have to move on with my life and learn to deal with the new level of pain. All right, we have arrived safely, no drama. Oh, look at that, right under there. Man, we are going in the cool room, the butchering room. This is, everybody, this is Brandon from Raising Roots Farm.
Yeah.
You got a whole public thing here. There's a we'll have to show you the restaurant in a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully it stayed pretty cool.
Well, we'll find out, see where we're at. How long were they in transport?
Hour and a half.
Okay. Nope.
And they were down to 37.
They were 37?
Yeah, 37.40.
Cool.
Mr. Brown brought us our coats. So probably. Yeah, it's hard to grip that.
It is.
Carcass.
So I've got some hooks to unhook, but we might be able to, if we can at least get it laid out here.
Yeah.
We can get to work. No. Pulling you with it.
There it is.
Wow.
We're going to hook in from the back, see how far she'll hang. And then we're probably going to take the front quarter off. And this back half will it'll probably hang. Get your hand on the carcass, if you don't mind. Grab on the cage. Up we go. Don't get poked.
I'll try not.
Here's rib 1.
Okay.
Head. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 5th rib there is kind of the end of the Boston butt, but some people like to split between 6 and 7 and get a little bit more.
We like as much Boston butt as we can get.
Kaylor, we'll go here to the 6th and 7th rib.
All right, that's
we'll
our favorite cut.
Cool. Let's do that.
And then we'll make it easy on you. We're going to do 2-pound packets of ground beef, unless you just have 1-pound bags.
Whatever you need.
And then, or not, I say ground beef, ground pork.
No worries.
And we'll season it as we go.
Sure.
Whether we're doing breakfast sausage or Italian sausage or whatever.
That works. Yeah, that's easy.
Yep.
Cool.
Brandon's getting warm now. Now look,
Yeah.
you got to see this restaurant.
It gets cold.
Where'd you get the idea for this restaurant?
Well, so if people are going to come all the way out here to the farm, they need something to do.
Yeah.
And so I figure, you know, kind of where our farm is, we're uniquely positioned because we're just outside city limits. It's not an hour drive.
And you're talking about Charlotte?
Hickory.
Hickory. Okay.
We're an hour from Charlotte.
Okay.
An hour from Asheville, and an hour from Statesville. So we're kind of
nice.
Yeah, and an hour from Boone. And so great little spot for people to come. We're not so far out of the city that people can't make the trip out here for a quick little farm tour. We've got a lot of regulars who come on Thursdays and Fridays, get a charcuterie board, have a beer, and leave with that weekend's grilling product. So that's kind of where we got the idea. We figured, why not kind of make it just a really fun destination. We added on 30 acres to the farm last year, and we'll be moving our pigs up to that pasture, but we plan to eventually even put 2 little cabins up there and let people even stay.
Nice.
So, yeah, it'd be a fun little destination.
We're cutting far up there to get as much Boston bud as we can. Our favorite cut. Ironically, the Boston bud is up in the shoulder. What was the big idea calling it the Boston bud?
Well, in Boston, they used to store pork products in these big wooden like casks, and they called them a butt. The actual name of the storage container is called a butt. And so
has nothing to do with the animal.
Nothing to do with it. Yeah. And there it is.
He's cut through just the bone, and then he's cutting the rest with his knife.
Bones and knives are for meat. So they say. So you do boning things out, and then knives are for everything.
You cut right through the joint.
Thereabouts.
Where'd you learn how to butcher, Brandon?
Well, I actually built this shop having never done it before.
Nice.
And I have a mentor that taught me. I watch a lot of videos. My background is in engineering. I'm just a nerd to the core, so lots of trial and error, research, and just kind of time with the pig. So we're gonna take these feather bones off. Gonna come right around into the neck, and then right back on the other side through the sternum.
Oh wow, all the way around.
All the way around. So we're gonna come up right under here. And now we begin the cutting. So the copa muscle's under here, and that's an amazing cut. First off, it's the top of your Boston bud. So if you like Boston bud, you're gonna want copa to stay intact. Copa is also the muscle that you make capricola out of. And in competition barbecue, it's one of the favorite cuts. They call this the money muscle. That's the one you cut for the judges. We want to be careful not to slice and dice that. There we go. Work our way around.
And you're just gonna keep working it until you can pull that whole rib set out.
Yep.
Orient, there's the leg still. There's
Leg.
the copa.
Head.
And the Boston butt.
You got it. This is loin side. So
Okay.
a little bit of, because we went on that longer butt, that cut at the 6th and 7th rib,
Yeah.
you've got more loin on here,
Okay.
which is great. And then that transitions into the rest of the copa up here. This is kind of the ribeye of the pig.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really pretty. So, bone in, we're gonna cut here. So you want a nice big butt. So there's that shoulder blade I just hit. And down on this side of the neck. Okay. Got some meat out of the way.
The table comes apart for his handsaw. That's convenient.
This is a heck of a bone to get through.
Alright, you got it sawed up.
Cool.
That's our Boston butt side.
So what do you want to do with the skin on here? Do you want to leave the skin on your butt?
Yes.
Cool. Square it up.
That helps keep moisture in, I reckon, when I cook it. Look at this fat.
Oh yeah. That is the old spot's secret weapon in the world of taste.
And he's just cleaning it up a little bit there.
Yep.
Some dirt on that.
Now go into trim.
That's a gigantic Boston butt.
It is. That's probably a 10, 11 pounder.
That's a party. We're gonna have to share that one.
Love to.
Well, I reckon we could cut it in half. Or is there a bone in there?
I can do that.
Yeah.
You want to cut it in half? If we decide to fire up the bandsaw, we can do it.
How much that weigh? 11 pounds?
Probably.
Yeah, we'll cut it in half.
Cool, we'll do that. I would recommend probably all sausage, or I can do a boneless ham.
Yeah.
Sausage.
Sausage.
Sweet.
Easy. We're just gonna do ground pork, so then we could have burgers, we could have breakfast sausage, we could have Italian sausage. Trimming some of the fat off. You split that thing over. We're saving the skin off this.
This will all be sausage.
Is there a technique here, or you're just cutting into chunks?
Well, you can just kind of hunk and chunk, or it's a lot easier if you follow the seams. Things just kind of want to come apart at the seams. And so it just gets a little bit easier there if you follow the seams. But yeah, the idea here is we're just kind of chunking into sausage. Take this group of vessels out here. So this is your end of the shoulder blade, and that comes down to a joint about there, and then you've got all your legs this way and this way. So we're going to kind of cut through all that. It's always good to have a sacrificial knife. This is my sacrificial knife because knives against bone just makes everything very dull. So always have a good knife you can kind of just get to those bones with. So I'm going to kind of come down towards that leg, and you'll see it as we peel it apart here. There's the knuckle.
This joint there you're going through.
Yeah, we're just going to cut that out. These are funny bones to cut around. You'll see why. We've got, on smaller pigs, it's not so bad. On big pigs, this blade bone becomes very developed and quite interesting to cut out. So there's this notch right here. But on a big pig, that's, you know, 3 times the size. And cutting around, it's kind of fun. All right, follow the bone. Picnic ham, if you were to,
bonus ham.
yeah, you could net this as a picnic ham. It's way better in sausage, but we just boned out the picnic ham.
Now you're just cutting it up into chunks.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll make sure I remember to get the skin on. So one of these pieces has some skin on.
All right, there's our pieces for sausage. Lily, you staying warm? This is what you call a jowl.
Yeah, we got the back end of the jowl. The other part would have come off of with your head.
What would this be? Sausage?
Sausage, yeah. Now what I typically do with a jowl when I have the larger piece is I'll cut all of the, let's see if you have any on here, these little tiny glands.
Yeah.
But in a jowl, there's a ton of little tiny glands. And you can cut all those away. They're not particularly delightful to eat, the glands. But if you cut them all away, you'll be left with a piece of meat, which is the jowl, and you can cure that, make what's called cowboy bacon. Yeah.
It's got Lily cutting up this bone.
Just be careful, don't cut towards yourself too much. So you're gonna want to go away. See the bone right here? I'm gonna go through it.
What?
Through the bone?
Well, right next to it. And you're just gonna take all this little bit of piece out.
Oh.
For your sausage.
You're harvesting sausage right there.
Yep. Sausage meat.
Nice. Alright.
Okay.
And she's got cut gloves on, so that's good. And she's got her cold winter mask on. Emma took over Lily's job. She's getting it out there. Not wasting anything. Jonah's set to work on the other one. It's starting to move fast now. I'm going to start with the leaf lard, just filling it away. We're just picking at it, huh? Never been easier to get at the harvest, huh?
It can be a little ornery, just depends on, let's see, it looks like it might roll.
Just trying to roll it.
It's a lot easier.
Nice. We got the tenderloin here, pulling it away from the bone. It's tucked in way under there, isn't it?
Yep, probably about there.
Wow.
About right there, yeah.
Okay, real tender bone.
So you can see the silver skin here, and that gives you kind of a good tell where you're at.
Alright, gonna cut off the back end now. That's kind of a tricky cut.
It's a tricky cut, so I've got our belly out of the way here. We're gonna kind of go, this is the H bone, actually pronounced H, but it's like A-I-C-H-T. And this H bone and tailbone kind of gives you the orientation for your ham. Some folks like to just cut this way, but this is your sirloin. And this sirloin right here makes really good roast. So if you cut through it, two things. If you have your tenderloin in there, you cut through your tenderloin, and then you kind of lose your roast here. It's a really good roast. Not a very popular cut, but delicious. So we're gonna keep that intact.
Now you cut it off and you got the ham.
Yeah. So you can do a couple things with this ham. You've got, the pig's gonna stand like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the inside, which is called the top round muscle. You got the outside, which is called the bottom round muscle. And you can kind of see them here. And then you've got the sirloin tip, which is this muscle right here. And all three of those come off. Well, top sirloin's kind of always, or top round's always good for sausage. It's a little bit tougher. The bottom round is pretty tender, tasty, so I strip that out and make like fajita mix out of it. You can cube it, it's great for stews. And then this sirloin here, sirloin tip's really great for roasts. We'll net that up for you. Or sausage. So we're gonna cut all this off and get after it. I take all of the fat off the ham and I set it to the side, and then I use that to balance my grind, because the hams tend to be a little on the lean side. The Boston butt is such a highly desirable cut because it's kind of naturally balanced for sausage, for salami. The fat to meat ratio's perfect out of the box, so to speak. So a lot of folks want that so they can cut it up for salami. But on the other side, the ham, a little bit leaner. So you kind of got to keep an eye on tossing that in the grinder. You want to make sure you got a good fat to lean ratio. Otherwise it'll come out a little lean.
Skinned it.
Everything's
cutting out the bone.
Yep. And everything likes to come apart at the seams. So we just need to find a seam and get in there. So if you look here, this is the bottom round. And that bottom round is going to connect to the sirloin tip. And there's a seam right there where it wants to come apart.
That's crazy.
You can kind of almost pull it entirely to pieces.
Wow.
Yep. So all I'm doing,
Separate muscles?
it's just, separating the muscles. So you just kind of walk through these seams and they go down into the leg here, which we need to get out of the way. Connect into, this right here is the shank. So a lot of these seams and muscles will kind of terminate at the shank. It's just, our job is to just follow the seams. Even if you're boning this out for 100% sausage, it's faster if you follow the seams because they want to come apart. You're not worrying about, and they're all going to orient around the bone. So you kind of naturally seam it out and everything falls right apart around the bone. So yeah, it just wants to lay all on its own. And then now we can pick up from there. Now this one wants to come apart. Come right around here. There's that shank. You can tell there's all these striations here, the tendons that are used, and all that leg muscle movement. Bone is right underneath here. So by following the seams, you're kind of naturally deboning it. The bottom round. That's a bottom round roast. Bottom round.
And then she's just going to cut the rest of the leg into sausage.
So to figure out which cut's the best for fajitas, I had the miserable day of having to cook them all and eat them and try them. Oh man, terrible, terrible.
We just finished up breaking her down. We brought one dead pig. We're picking up one live pig.
Come on, darling.
The replacement. Which one's she is? The lead one?
This is her. Alright. You ready?
You ready for some squealing? Good job, Brandon. That was impressive. No workout
today. As they get older, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, you're gonna have shoots, but within 10 years, huh?
Yeah, we freeload them in the fields, and we kind of build a relationship with them, and they just get right on the trailer.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the pig people watch them believe me.
Brandon, why did you pick that one out for me?
Well, you're looking for successful litters.
Yeah.
And meat. And that's exactly what she kind of does on this farm. This is BFF, and that's her sister, Emma.
This is her. This is her mom.
But her mom's laying down.
Oh.
That's her sister, BFF.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get them and Daddy up.
How much do you reckon they weigh?
I'd put her at 5.
Is that full grown then?
5. She'll get a little bigger.
All right, look at this.
A little bigger.
Wow. I had to put Brandon on timeout because this landscape's fogging because it went from 34 degrees to 80. You got her up?
So when we grade these pigs and we select for people, one of the first things we do is kind of have a conversation and listen to their goals. And I've developed a lot of our scoring system around kind of identifying how performant the pig is in those areas. So there's kind of 2 aspects of that score on the body conformation side. One is meat business, and I score them and I judge parts of their body based on how they look for that goal. But those same parts of their body don't necessarily matter for breeding. So that I have a whole separate score that I assign to them for kind of how performant they are from a body conformation perspective on the breeding side. When I look at a teat line and I'm looking for spacing, hey sweetheart, and I'm looking for how spacing looks,
Yeah.
that just doesn't matter on a meat pig. You don't care.
Okay,
but on
okay.
a breeding pig, I do care. So I still judge the belly, but I'm gonna assign a different score in the breeding column than I am the meat column. And that allows me, when I'm selecting for people, to kind of look at how they score out. I'm adding temperament into that, etc. We've got one of the rarer herds here, I think, on the East Coast, as far as I'm aware, where we've got a lot of these UK lines that have been imported recently, and we've got these old US lines, and now we're able to put those two kind of genetic situations together.
She's a good mama. She has lots of babies. She takes good care of them.
Yeah.
And I guess her sister does too, so
Yeah.
her mom.
These come from a biscuit line, and the biscuit line is a line that we originated them out of in Virginia, and they have nice big body types, great mothering conditions, and they just perform really well on pasture.
Why do they call them a biscuit line?
That's just the name that they gave them.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah. It's not standing anymore, but one of the things that you see in these UK lines is what I call a more loin compaction, where the distance from the ham to the shoulder is just tighter.
Yeah.
They have the same number of ribs, everything's the same, but they just seem to grow a little bit more compact and a little stouter.
How much does he weigh?
Probably 550, 6.
Is that about normal?
Yeah, they'll top out in the 6 range. Come this way, big guy.
So he's no Hereford, but he's a big pig. So how many pigs do you have here?
We're at about 120. We fluctuate between 120 and 140 depending on when litters are coming.
Nice.
And then we'll move about 300 a year on a typical year between selling to other farmers or processing them through the meat side of the business. And that's real exciting. And I think we'll be scaling again next year as we've taken on more folks. We kind of work a clientele model, so to speak, where people like yourself or other farmers will ask for a certain number of pigs, either breeding stock or feeders, and I kind of just plan those numbers into production, and they come 3 times a year or so.
I'm going to talk to you, hopefully.
Pick up, yeah.
In the spring. I mean, we'll see how my 2 females do, but we may be talking to you about getting
Heck yeah.
10, 20,
Yeah, no problem.
maybe even 30.
No problem. And
Pigs for everyone.
Pigs for everybody.
You know that model, right? Pigs for everyone.
Yeah. So if this were just a pasture program, we could have cohorts that moved all the time and really planned for that. What we've done is kind of complicated that situation by adding this pedigree breeding model into it, and this conservation breeding model into it. And trying to do the two, especially on constrained land, is very challenging. You'll end up with some barren fields from time to time because they don't farrow the way you want, or you've got a traffic jam in your program where you've got pigs that are coming up at a certain schedule, and then you've got breeders that are producing on a certain schedule, and those piglets got to move somewhere, and you're separating everybody, and it becomes kind of very complicated and very hard to constantly keep them moving while they're also breeding, and you have to keep track of the fact that piglet belongs to that mom so that you can register it.
All right, we're going to say goodbye to Raising Roots Farm. We're actually going now to my friend Casey Ostrich, Honey Tree Farm. Oh my gosh, what he's doing on 1.5 acres with his garden, it's gonna blow your mind. We're gonna make that a whole nother video. That's coming out tomorrow. See you guys then.